사실은
soaking. It looks the same. It's basically the exact same thing. Good, like it. It's like the meme, copy my homework, but change it up a little bit. Oops. Oh man. Hey guys, Tonic with 95 Tactical. I have the Hellcat Pro ported, done up by Monsoon Tactical, and today we'll be compared against the XMacro Comp by Sig XMacro. You guys are probably wondering why we don't have the Hellcat Pro Comp from Springfield. We unfortunately couldn't get our hands on one, but we basically have the same thing with the Hel-Port from Monsoon Tactical done on this base Hellcat Pro. It's basically the same thing, the meme of, you can copy my homework, just change it up a little bit. In the past, we've already made videos on the Hellcat Pro as well as the XMacro. We got full-length reviews on that, so go check that out. I mentioned that because real quick, we're just going to do a quick rundown of the specs on why the Hellcat Pro is a direct competitor to the XMacro Comp. And what I mean by these two are direct competitors to each other is that if you look at the overall length on the slides, they are both 6.6 inches, the exact same length. However, on the barrel, the XMacro, if you can see inside there, is 3.1 inches and it stops before the end because that is the XMacro's integral comp design. However, on the Springfield Armory, the barrel extends 3.7 inches, which you can actually see protrudes outside from the side a little bit, and it has a more ported style comp. The barrels from Sig are carbon steel on the XMacro, and on the Springfield it is cold hammer forged. Both are still really good. They're rather durable. I think we probably put like 20,000 plus rounds through these. Also moving down, we have the Picatinny rails. These both have Picatinny rails so you can mount any weapon light you so desire. Probably can't fit a Surefire X300 on these, but you can get a Streamlight or O-Light for that matter if it doesn't blow up. The grips here, as you can see, are virtually identical. However, the XMacro is 1.1 inches while the Hellcat is only 1. Also, you see that there is a flared magwell here. That was a modification done by Zach to make reloading a lot easier, but normally they would not come with a flared magwell. The capacity on both of these is 17 plus 1. However, on the XMacro, it can sit flush, while on the Hellcat Pro, it will not sit flush. I do not have a 17 with me to demonstrate. I do only have the 15 round ones, as I did pick this up before Springfield was offering that. These are both 9mm striker fired pistols. That's part of the reason why they can carry so much at such a compact size. The biggest difference between the two is the price. The Hellcat Pro Comp will start you at $699, while the XMacro will be starting at $820 or $1899, close enough. Ergonomics, they're actually pretty similar. The slide serrations starting at the top here for both of them are fairly identical as far as depth. There's really not much difference between either of these two. We didn't find any significant performance difference between either of the slide serrations here, front or rear. The grip wise though, we would say the XMacro definitely wins as far as being a little bit more aggressive, as well as having the back straps being interchangeable. The Hellcat, I mean, is okay, I'd say. It's definitely some maybe finer sandpaper-ish compared to the XMacro being a little more rough, but there is no grip panel customization when it comes to the Hellcat whatsoever. So this is a one size fits most, while the XMacro actually has some options for you there. As far as slide controls,
The mag release is actually very similar as well. This location is going to be exactly the same, and we did not find any significant difference between either of these two. They're both very easy to reach. The real significant difference is going to be in the side release. As you notice here, the XMacro is actually a little bit farther up compared to the Hellcat Pro. As we know on the channel as well, I tend to have smaller hands. I can actually grab the Hellcat Pro and use a side release just fine using one hand. While compared to the XMacro, I actually have to break my grip a little bit just to reach it. Not everyone's gonna have that problem, but guys with small hands, short kings like me, you're gonna have issues with reaching that on the XMacro compared to the Hellcat. So the Hellcat definitely wins as far as side release location. If you notice here, the Hellcat Pro actually has a little thumb ledge there you can use. So people that like to have a thumbs forward grip, you can have a little bit of texture there to help you out, as well as a little more texture up here on the top compared to the XMacro. There's no texture up there. As you notice, they both are also indented in, which is something that's really not really noticeable for us, but at least the Hellcat Pro has some grip up there compared to the XMacro not having any at all.
The trigger on the XMacro is a pretty nice crisp break. I'll show you here. It is clear for you nerds out there. So here, take up, back, boom, breaks it at 90 degrees, resets relatively short, and right back at it. It's nice and crisp, unlike the Hellcat Pro. That one has more of a rolling break. So also clear here, the Hellcat Pro. Now this, if you notice, is actually not a stock trigger. This is a M-Carbo trigger. I did swap that out because the stock Hellcat Pro trigger was rather gritty and like mushy feeling. It was also, I thought, was heavier than necessary. It was like, it felt like between 5 to 6 pounds. It just wasn't good. I'd say that was probably what was holding the Hellcat Pro back. Here, I'll go ahead and show you the trigger here. And so take up, already significantly less than the stock trigger from the Hellcat Pro. Right here at the wall, break. So it breaks still at the rear at 90 degrees. Also, here's the reset. Boom. It's a lot shorter than stock. If you're getting a Hellcat Pro, probably one of the most common upgrades you'll probably see is swapping out to a aftermarket trigger. I know there's this like from M-Carbo, which actually brings down what they say on the website from wherever the stock, I think 5 or 6 pounds is, to like, I think 4 1/4 or 4 1/2. I agree. It definitely brings down the weight quite a bit. There's also other companies like PRP, Powder River Precision, I believe, and Tyrant CNC, which I did have in the past. I would be wary on that one because I took a class with the QVO Tactical, an all-day pistol performance class, and after about, I think, 1,000 rounds at the range that day, the Tyrant CNC had warped and melted itself, and it was no longer breaking properly. So something to note if you get yours. Your miles may vary. I may have just gotten the dud. So the XMacro has a 4 to 4.5 pound trigger pull. The brake is more of like a crisp brake at 90 degrees. While the Hellcat Pro has about a 5.5 to 6 pound trigger pull and is more of a roll through brake, and it brakes right at the rear. For concealability, both of these are about the same. Actually, they're basically exactly the same. So dimensions, I mentioned them in the specs before, they're virtually the same. The width, if you look at these two, I showed it before, I guess, we'll show it again. Basically the same, just like a 0.1 difference. The weight, they're both about 21 ounces. And in terms of comfort and concealability, set this one down here. As you can see, they're pretty easy to conceal. This is like a medium shirt. I actually had to stretch it out because it's a little too tight. It's actually our new 9 to 5 tactical shirts we're trying out. So if you guys are interested in that, leave a comment below. But yeah, as you can see, pretty easy to conceal. You can see the magazine sticking out, but it's because I have extended base plate on that one, which is not what comes standard. But in comfort, you can easily kneel down, tie your shoe, run around. It's pretty comfy. I do carry a staccato on a normal basis, and I can say this is significantly more comfy. The holsters we are running with these guns is the QVO Wingman provided to us by QVO Tactical. We actually have a discount code 9 to 5 10. Is it 10?
I think it's actually 9 to 5 Tactical.
Either way, we have it in the description below, so you can use that code, save yourself some money, about I think 10%. So check out their holsters. They have some pretty good holsters.
All right, so we did want to test the accuracy between the XMacro Comp and the Hel-Port. The main reason being is because the XMacro has a 3.1 inch barrel that's actually cut off and having a side comp, and the Hellcat actually has a 3.7-inch barrel with a ported slide. So we wanted to see if there's any deviation in accuracy. Both at 10 and 25 yards are usual accuracy tests for any time we do on the channel. So let's get right into that. Alright, so you see here at 10 yards we just did the accuracy test. XMacro, it opened up just a little bit. Maybe I might threw one or so, maybe up there. But you can hear for the Hel-Port, all touching. So at 10 yards, does that 0.6 of an inch matter? 0.6 of an inch? Does it matter?
I think it's a little bigger than that.
Oh, it's like that?
Yeah.
Alright, so I just did a 25-yard test. I threw 2 shots, one on each, so I X'd them out. I saw which one I threw. That one for the XMacro, that one for the Hel-Ports. Well, the results are actually kind of surprising. On the XMacro back there, we noticed the grouping was significantly bigger at 25 yards, or sorry, 10 yards than the Hel-Port. Because now at 25 yards, looks like the grouping for the XMacro is actually tighter than the Hel-Port. As you can tell, obviously the zeros are off for both of them. That's why they're not right here dead center. That we're not worried about zero, that we're more worried about grouping size. So you see here, 1, 2, there's actually 2 right there, so 3, 4, 5 rounds total in that grouping for the XMacro 25 yards. The Hel-Port, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds there, all 25 yards. Still fairly good grouping though. I mean, look at sharp marker right there compared to here. It's not too different, maybe like 1 MOA, sub MOA difference. All right, side by side, XMacro over here, 10 yards, Hel-Port over here, 10 yards. XMacro down here, 25 yards, with the Hel-Port over here, 25 yards. You can literally see side by side comparison of the groupings between the two. Very interesting results. So the XMacro comes in with 3.1-inch barrel, while the Hellcat will come in with a 3.7-inch barrel. Pretty big difference. It's kind of up to you guys if you think that actually does matter at distance as far as barrel length. This one is ported, while this one is just straight up cut off at 3.1. And like we said before, the price for this one is $820, while the price for this one is $700. Is it worth it?
Alright, we're going to try the Ported Hellcat Pro first. Felt very direct. However, the return to zero is pretty good, I'd say. But I could feel like if you were shooting that for a while, you definitely get a little bit of fatigue. Onto the Sig XMacro Comp. I'd say the return to zero on this one was a little bit not too far off, but it did feel a bit softer to shoot.
It's definitely a little more concussive than normal guns, just because of the port just coming up, but it returns to zero pretty quick, so. That one felt a little softer, less concussive, but return to zero. I think it's this one that returns to zero a lot quicker than the XMacro, but this one feels a lot softer, I would say.
Felt pretty good. Man, honestly, they both felt really good, not gonna lie. I feel like I remember the Hellcat Pro being a little snappier, but it felt kind of soft. I'll probably agree with the other guys. This one probably turned zero slightly faster. Well, this one also had a slightly better felt recoil. This is slightly softer, I'd say.
It's a double rainbow! Look how vibrant that is.
.202.
Dang it! 202! 169.
That was clean, right?
Clean.
Might be cooked here, Ren. 432.
Just enough.
Oh.
Oh! Oh!
God damn.
I'm dead.
Oh!
I'm cooked.
Killed in the streets.
Oh! Woo! 193.
I cannot. I don't know why I'm stressing so bad. Ah!
Oh shit. 448.
One hit that time.
Yeah, that was
185
one
though.
hit.
Oh! Again!
The press check again.
I forgot I dropped the round earlier. Oops. I just died. With that, it concludes our video on the Ported Hellcat Pro versus the XMacro Comp. If you like what you saw, please leave a like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification to stay up to date on our content. If you have any further questions, leave a comment below, and we will try to get to those as best we can. With that, we'll see you in the next one.